is success. We all have begun together on day 1 and 2 with Dr. L.R.S. Kalanidhi on the topic Redefine Skill Sets to Refine Communicative English. And today we are keeping it in progress by continuing successfully on day 3. On behalf of Department of English, Sri Shankarlal Sundarbai Session Jain College for Women, I gladly welcome the resource person for the day, Dr. Beena Anil, Vice Principal, SDNB Vaishnav College for Women, Head of the department, faculty members, participants, and the audience to the 1 week faculty development program on communicative English. I take immense pleasure in welcoming and introducing our resource person for the day, Dr. Beena Anil, Vice Principal, Professor of English at SDNB Vaishnav College for Women, Chennai. Dr. Beena Anil completed Master of Arts and Master of Philosophy in English Literature from Presidency College, Chennai. And her doctorate in English is from University of Madras under the topic Socio-Psycho-Linguistic Perspectives in Teaching English as a Second Language. She is an experienced academic professional with 20 years of rich experience in teaching. She has authored several books. To name a few, You Can Be a Winner, Confused and Misused Words, and Correct Your English, etc. She had authored many book chapters also. The recent chapters are Technotask, a step ahead in learning and teaching English as a second language at elementary level in the Handbook of Research on Modern Educational Technologies, Applications and Management, and Smart E-Communication through Smartphones in the Handbook of Research on Mobile Devices and Smart Gadgets in K-12 Education. She has published and presented papers in national and international journals and conferences. She is an invited speaker in many workshops and conferences and also in many UGC MHRD programs. It is my honor to mention that her service to the profession continues as an international level editorial board member, reviewer of international journals, including Scopus indexed journals, member in the International Advisory Board of Association, and scientific reviewer of international conferences, etc. In her academic journey, she is on the board for designing syllabus in the year 2017 for secondary level Tamil Nadu students. Her online poetry publication includes Silence, Pinnacle of Glory, Decipher Days, Kitchen, and A Will Away. Her contribution to the society is also worth mentioning. She is the recipient of many awards from the non-academic area also. She had received Women Achievers Award from Manida Urimai magazine and Influential Women Award by Spirit Mania in 2020. She had created a Tamil Nadu record for writing a miniature book and miniature calendar. Some of the sketches and paintings were exhibited at the Victoria Technical Art Exhibition, Chennai. We are really happy to have such an amazing personality amidst us today. In addition, I have a virtual connect with Dr. Beena Anil through her sister, Miss Leena. From her, I understood the generous nature and her relentless enthusiasm to work towards making the teaching community get benefited. With this brief personal touch, I would like to invite you all to relish the wisdom of our resource person on her topic, Communicative English, How to and How Not to. Welcome you, ma'am, and welcome you all.
Yes, thank you so much for those lovely words, Professor Karpadam. So nice of you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Karpaga, ma'am. I request
Thank you,
Dr. Beena
ma'am.
Anil. I request Dr. Beena Anil to engage and enrich our knowledge. Over to the speaker.
Yes, Professor Gayatri, can I share my screen?
Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. Good evening, all. I'm very happy to be part of this faculty development program. Before I start the session, I really thank my college management and principal for this opportunity. I also thank the Secretary and Associate Secretary of Sri Shankarlal Sundarbai Sashun Jain College for Women. I thank the college principal, Dr. S. Padmavati, Vice Principal, Dr. S. Rukmani, Dr. S. Santosh Smita, Head Department of English, and wonderful faculty members, Professor Karpagam, Professor Gayatri, Professor Deepa, Professor Shantini, Professor Rohini Unikrishnan, Professor Gayatri, and Professor Mogna Priya. I also thank Kalanidhi ma'am, Vice Principal Guru Nanak, and Dr. Sumati Shivakumar, AM Jain College, and the most vibrant professor participants. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. So now we're going to discuss communicative English, how not to. Later, which is on Monday, we'll discuss communicative English, how to. I have a poster for you. You can look at this. So you really understand the essence of English language. So it is really sensible. When you look at the poster, it is really sensible. I thought it was fine to park here, and the board says fine for parking. So English is always a funny language, crazy language, and is always filled with a lot of difficulties as well as a lot of easy ways to learn the language. So we're going to discuss communicative English, how not to worry about that, how not to tense about it. So you're going to learn, we are going to teach our students in various amazing ways. Let us talk about the myths about learning English language. Even some of the points been discussed by Kalanidhi ma'am, as well as a point by our chief guest on the first day of the session. The first one is fluency comes when you learn all the grammar. So it is always a myth. So it is nothing to do with grammar. So when you want to be fluent enough in a language, you have to know grammar. There's no doubt about it. But learning grammar alone will not fetch us any sort of result, positive result. You need to think in English to become fluent. There was a time where researchers were telling that you should not think in your mother tongue when you're going to speak English as a second language. But now it has been changed. Now researchers say you have to think in your mother tongue. It is not necessary to think in English directly. So bilingualism is always accepted to learn a second language. As a beginner, you're bound to make a lot of mistakes. So again, that's a point to be noted. We always ask our students to, like, come on, you can do it. If you're going to make mistakes, it's not a problem. But the thing is, it is not at all a problem for the kids to make mistakes, but they should not do the mistakes or the same mistakes again and again. Then it's a fossilization. It is always difficult for them to change it. So we have to correct our students now and then, not making them to feel bad, but we have to correct their mistakes now and then. The next point is studying pronunciation is not important. So it is a myth actually, but I would say this myth is sometimes really applicable because we don't have one language, one English right now. We have Englishes. We have American English, British English, Indian English, all more of Englishes. So now this word Englishes has become a prominent word. But you have to be very clear with the pronunciation part, because most of us, we Indians, have this mother tongue influence. Then too, you have to correct yourself when you're going to speak English like a native speaker. But it is not possible to speak like a native speaker, but we'll take enough steps to do it. So studying pronunciation is not important. We have to study the pronunciation part, and it is a way of developing our it is nothing to do with style, but pronunciation plays a very important role to give confidence to students. If you did not learn a language as a child, and then you will not have this proficiency at all. So again, it is wrong. But once it was like that. There was a researcher who is called Lenneberg, who was very good for this critical hypothesis in second language acquisition. He said a child could learn a language. Before the child turns 13, she could learn, or he could learn a language. And after that, it is not possible for a person to learn a language. But it has been proven wrong. So you can learn a language at any point of time. There is no age limit. Even at the age of 60, you can learn a language. So again, it is a myth. No, at any point of time. The only important thing is you should have enough interest to learn the language. And again, the best way to learn a language is to speak it. Of course, we have to speak language. Before you speak, David Crystal, a great language expert, and Stephen Krashen, right? Again, a great language expert. They say you have to listen, listen, listen. When you want to speak a language, first you listen, you observe the language, and then you start to speak. Straight away, you cannot speak a language. So these are the myths, and some of the myths are completely been demystified. So I wanted to tell you these are the myths, and all these are much prevalent even now in our classroom. I have a small story for you. This can be connected to the present word. The anthropologist invited children from the African tribe to play one game. He placed a basket of fruit near the tree and announced, addressing the children, "The one of you who reaches the tree first will be rewarded with all sweet fruits." When he signaled to the children to start the race, they locked their hands tightly and ran together. And then they all sat together and enjoyed the delicious fruit. The astonished anthropologist asked the children why they all ran together, because each of them could enjoy the fruit for himself. To which the children replied, "Obanato, is it possible for one to be happy if everyone else is sad?" Obanato in their language means I exist because we exist. That's a beautiful story. It's a positive story. I would like to say we exist because our students exist. So we are here only for our students. So if we don't have students, we are not here. So it is always a collaboration. So we have to collaborate ourselves with our kids to make them achieve a lot in their life. So as English teachers, we play predominant role when it comes to communication. Again, this picture speaks no volumes. So we are all a pencil here. So we draw the line. We give a way, beautiful way to our students to walk on. So to give a way or create a path, we should really sharpen our skill. We should not blend. We should not have this blend point. So when we really sharpen our skills, I would say we really make our students to go miles together. So again, you will really wonder, this communicative English, which is going to be for 90 hours program for a semester. So what is that you're going to do with this 90 hours of program? And is it possible to teach a child to learn a language? Again, I tell you, my friends, it is not teaching here. We can't teach a language. We are going to create atmosphere. We are going to create a very important thing, which is called confidence. We have to instill confidence in the mind of our students. We have to develop interest for the language. We have to give willpower to our students. So we are going to do it through this paper, Communicative English. So it is not possible to teach a language to anybody until unless the person demands that. So my opinion is As a teacher, we should upskill ourselves. There's no doubt about it. And we are doing it. We are not, lagging behind anywhere. We are really doing wonderful uh, creativity. There's no doubt about it. But we have to upskill in such a way where our students are really look at us and say this, she's my driving force. All of us are like that. Especially English teachers are always the real source of inspiration for many students. So this picture is like a way where I just wanted to tell you, we are going to draw, we are going to pay a beautiful way for our students, and we are making them to walk on that beautiful way, and they are going to reach the pinnacle of glory with the help of all the teachers. So we have to sharpen our skills. We have to be really, we should not have any sort of unsharpened way of teaching. Every time we have to upskill. For that, we have to update ourselves. So in 1920, so 100 years back, this was the type of classroom. And in 2020, this is the type of classroom now we have. So anyway, when you look at these two pictures, you have students in 1920, you have students in 2020. You have a teacher there in 1920, you have a teacher in 2020. And here in 1920, you could find a teacher with a book. And here you can find a teacher with laptop, right? That's the difference. So what is different? Only the tool is different. Whereas the person, the teacher is the same, students are the same. There is no difference between students in 1920 as well as in 2020. So the only tool has been changed. The tool, in sense here, the textbook has been replaced with this virtual reality. So the outcome should be always the same. Even the teacher was really trying to make her students learn, understand. Even in 2020, we teachers do the same. So we have to understand the process towards this teaching would always make students understand in a dimensional way. Look at this 2000. Sometimes you may say even still, no, this is a situation being prevalent in most of the places then too. It's like you have this air-conditioned classroom, and the other side is like air-conditioned. Again, only the pattern has been changed, or the classroom pattern has been changed, but the output is always the same. Because whenever we enter the class, students expect a new thing from us. They really they really expect a new knowledge, a piece of knowledge from us. So with that note, they always come to the class. Again, from our side, we always go to the class. We always want our students to learn one important thing for their life. This is going to be the future. And, might be our grandchildren would belong to this category. This is the future of education. There is no doubt about it. And let me say how we are going to have this education. The transformation of education happened across the world, especially in India. This is education 1.0. So this 1.0 happened 100 years ago, I could say. So then it was like the teacher was the important person, and she was the only person who was giving instruction, and it was being given to the students. It was always the receiving part. They responded, but not the way now it has been done. So teacher played a predominant role in education 1.0. In education 2.0, there was a bit change happened. It was like learners started to communicate, learners started to connect, learners started to collaborate, and they started to use technology to some extent. And you have you have a process which is called this project inquiry based learning. We'll talk about it. And in education 2.0, you could find social media has been really helpful for the teacher to apply in the classroom. I would say before COVID, we were in this form, education 2.0. So actually, education 1.0 happened 100 years ago. This education 2.0 happened 8 months back. When you look at this education 3.0, this is the present scenario, and we are in education 3.0. So we just took 8 months of time to have this transformation. We are being completely transformed tremendously because of this pandemic. And this 3.0, it is always student-centric. We use technology in an extensive way. And you're going to have this blended learning. Blended classroom is going to be the norm. Even after we resume our normalcy, we are going to have online as well as offline. There's no doubt about it, because our students are going to come back with a bang. They know everything about technology now. It is very easy. Even a first year student, really, a student knows how to attach file to send it to Google Classroom. And she would not have undergone any sort of specific training for that. So it is really amazing to understand students learn everything on their own. So even in 3.0, lesson plans are called learning plans. So it is not only lesson plans. You have to make the learners learn accordingly. So this is what education 3.0, and we are in 3.0. 4.0. Even in India, many schools and many institutions have started to adopt this education 4.0. Very soon, even we'll get into it. And in 4.0, which is really customized, which is always a collaborative way, again, the virtual reality plays a predominant role. This virtual reality is something where you find in advertisements where everything is being completely real, though virtually. And you have this augmented reality, you have mixed reality, all these things are going to be, and you have this artificial intelligence. I will tell you, like, all these things are going to be normal very soon. Might be in 2035, it's going to be the norm. But we are waiting for that again. When you're going to have the changes, we teachers always ready for changes. There's no doubt about it. We are really flexible. We are ready to learn a lot of new things, and we are doing it rightly. And again, when you're going to have this 4.0, there we are going to become only digital learning facilitator. We're not going to teach, as I said, we are not going to teach, especially when it comes to language, we're not going to teach language. We're going to, help our students to acquire the language or understand the language. So the 4.0, which is going to happen again very soon, and it already happened across the world. In many countries, people started, I think in Canada, they've started to have this 4.0. And then comes this 5.0, which is already there in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe government has taken initiative of doing it. So it's going to be totally virtual. And here comes this, all sort of MR, virtual reality, VR, and augmented reality, AR. So all the realities will come together. It is going to be, usually you find, this sort of setting will always happen for gaming. Now you have everything. It is not necessary you have to go to museum. You have this virtual museum, and it is like we have that, because during this COVID time, we received a lot of information about a lot of virtual museum, lot of resources. But this thing is, everything is going to be, it's like they could feel it. That's going to be the future of education and 5.0. And we have a lot of questions, a lot of unanswered questions, but we have to move along with the changes. So it's going to happen very soon. It may be delayed, and you can tell me this, like we know that it's like India. In India, it is not all of them are technically connected, but I would say people started to understand the importance of technology. And technology, again, you have it's like a coin. You have advantages as well as disadvantages. Let us talk about advantages when it comes to education. You might have heard of this 21st century skills, because it's like we are in 2020. So it all started, designed, at the beginning of 21st century, I could say. When you look at these skills, 16 skills are really essential for students. And this foundational literacies, competencies, character qualities. I would say when it comes to competencies, you have 4 important skills: critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, communication, collaboration. These 4 components are very essential, especially we English teachers should always help our students to develop these 4 skills. Let me see how it has been really developed. I'll tell you that. I'm not talking about the learning methods, but I'm telling you what are the modern learning methods. Because we don't know what is in the mind of a student. It is very difficult to understand the mindset of a student, especially in the 25th century, because we handle digital natives and we are all digital migrants because we don't know much about technology. We learn, and it is all a trial and error method. And when you look at the students who are all digital natives, they're very strong in technology. And again, once, before COVID, it was the time we never allowed students to come with mobile. I mean, come with the mobile to the classroom. Now it's going to be bring your own device, right? So boy is going to be the ultimate one. So that's going to be the future. And you have a lot of problems then. Again, let us really analyze what are the positive areas we have. Under this modern learning, when you look at modern inquiry learning, modern self-directed learning, modern social learning. Modern inquiry learning is nothing but curiosity. So, as I said, we do not know the mind of our students, but they all are intelligent. We have to accept that. And again, sorry. And again, English is nothing to do with intelligence. English will not talk about a child's talent. English is a language. To learn a language, you don't need intelligence. You need only interest and exposure, right? So the curiosity. So when you're going to have curiosity, when a student has curiosity to know something about, then it is called inquiry learning. Inquire. They ask too many questions, and it's a way of learning. So that can be done in the classroom. So it is the way of. So this is all the learning method from the student side. So as a teacher, we have to understand what are the learning types of learning happening in the mind of a student. And again, you have modern self-directed learning. This modern self-directed learning is something SDL they call. It is self-directing themselves to learn. For example, I would say SWAYAM and NPTL. These are very helpful for students to know about various things, to know about their interests. A literature student would go for a paper in psychology. So it is always self-directed learning, which is gaining momentum right now. Those days are gone where only literature students will study literature. It is not like that. You have liberal arts, and we know that. So this self-directed learning is something is really happening. And when you look at our own students, that you can find a person who is doing physics would be doing business. She would be doing marketing, everything online. So you find students are for anything. Students are really capable of understanding what's really required, from them by the society. And the next one is modern social learning. And this modern social learning is being, a psychologist, Batuda. He was been talking about, how the social learning is being really happening. It's all, cognitive is very important here, where they have this, you know, uh, motivating, understanding, observing. All these are essential to have this social learning. Again, social learning will do with this computational learning, which we are going to discuss now. So this computational learning is nothing. It's like the computational, as I said, is nothing to do with coding alone. It is again a way to create students to have this problem solving skill. So they can learn everything or anything from anywhere. So that's the norm right now. So you have this crossover learning. Again, this is multidisciplinary. So I'm really interested. So I would say this, national education policy has been focusing more on that. So this crossover learning. So it is always multidisciplinary. So it's like learning one thing at a time, and this being wanted to have something else. It's like you have that. You have all sort of amalgamation being happening in the mind of our students. and you have context-based learning. And you have the context, and they really have their own interpretation out of the context or out of the box thinking you have. That sort of learning really happening. We have to find out what sort of happening is being really, prevailing there in the classroom. So it might be difficult, but in the passage of time, we really understand the pulse of our students. Embodied learning. It's again the physical and mental connection, which has been, it's like gamification, I could say. Again, we are going to talk about gamification shortly. So embodied learning is something where you can give tasks in the classroom, and through the task, students really learn the language. Incidental learning. You create an incident. An incident really gives them the learning process. Computational learning, again, using computers. Again, computers, it's like, again, because we handle all disciplines. So according to the interest of the students, we really design our own methodology. And adaptive learning. And usually we go for adaptive teaching because we teachers really adapt to the understanding of the students. Here you have this adaptive learning where they really adapt according to the situation and they learn. So these are the types of learning which I wanted to tell you. And when you're going to look at all these things, again, even though I have been talking about the types of learning, once we enter our classroom, we have our own method. There is no doubt about it. And we are not going to follow anybody to a T. So we really improvise our own way. We really improvise our creativity and make students understand the importance of learning a language. As I was explaining uh, uh, this learning, now you have teaching, right? Modern teaching. And this modern teaching, you have project-based teaching, you have cooperative teaching, you have thinking-based teaching, and problem-based teaching, competency-based teaching, and gamification. When you look at this project-based teaching, and again, you can ask me, ma'am, as an English teacher, what sort of project we really give? We can give a project for them to work on, might be a group or individual work. The problem has always been based on something where they have to find out a solution. So problem-based as well as project-based are interconnected. So you give a project and they will come out with a solution. You give a problem and they come out with a solution. Again, when they're going to come out with a solution, it is their own brainchild. So they really know how to communicate. They will have the interest to put it across. This collaborative teaching, again, the collaborative teaching is very important for us to develop professionally as well as individually. So collaborative teaching is very, very important. So it is not only for us, it is, again, a benefit for our students. So those days are gone where it's very difficult to invite a speaker from a foreign country. Now it has become very easy. So it is always nice to collaborate with other teachers across the world. You have a lot of platforms like LinkedIn. You have a lot of platform to be connected with the teachers. So it is always, we teachers should always be good at exchanging our ideas, especially English teachers. So when you're going to collaborate with others, it is always a learning because nobody is going to give us anything new, but you can improvise yourself. So the collaborative teaching is very, very essential. So it is not that it's like you're going to have everything in the closed doors. It's not like that. It is always nice to share your knowledge, share your ideas. And this one, which is called thinking and teaching. And the thinking, again, you have two types of thinking. One is creative thinking, another one is critical thinking. Creative thinking will always generate ideas, and critical thinking will always judge ideas. So creative thinking is we find that because all of us are creative people. We all filled with lot of creativity. There is no doubt about it. But when it comes to critical thinking, even our students are good at creativity. And how many of them analyze everything in various critical ways? So that's very important to be noted. So you have to develop the critical thinking of our students. Again, the creative thinking and critical thinking are important. So through our teaching, we are going to make our students to think critically. And you have this problem-based teaching. I've given this traditional as well as this modern one. In traditional, it was only content, lecturer, student. And now in problem-based, you have the problem, and we coach our students, and they are the problem solvers. So you have this problem-based teaching, which is very important right now, and competency-based teaching, which really focus more on knowledge, skills, abilities, and this gamification. That's no again, it's gaining momentum right now. Gamification, it's like introducing games, introducing virtual reality to teach in the classroom. And you can go for Byju's, Vedanta, all these startup companies are making money only through gamification. Even though we can't do all sort of gimmicks using technology, but to some extent we can make our students understand that technology really helping them to learn the language. So in my next session, I really talk about technology. I'll share some of the applications are really helpful for us to to develop or to create tasks to be used in the classroom. So you have these essential skills for students. So these are the very important skills to be instilled, to be given to our students. The first one is speak up. They have to listen. They have to listen, and then they have to speak. We have to give them enough space to speak up. Being honest with oneself. They have to understand. As yesterday, Kalanidhi ma'am was telling us, it's like, they have to understand what they know. They have to accept the reality, and they should not glide every time. They should understand where they stand. They should be honest to themselves. Having confidence, that's the duty of each teacher. So we have to instill confidence in our students. They have to listen. They have to manage time. Is to stop complaining. Stop complaining. Always they say that I'm from Tamil medium background, ma'am. I don't know English. I don't know how to speak. It's always a way of degrading themselves or denying their opportunities. So we have to tell them, stop complaining. Staying present in the moment. It is always a way of understanding the situation. What is that they're going to do? Because as I told you, it is not possible to teach a language in 90 hours of one semester. Again, we are going to tell them how to acquire the language, how to learn the language. So we're going to do that. Being consistent. They have to be. If you give some work, they have to do it. It is always a training program. So being consistent. They should be really, adjustable to the teacher, and should have the desire to learn the language. I just wanted to tell about Milton Bennett's DMIS, the developmental model of intercultural sensitivity. Most of you would have, uh, known about this experience of differences. This Milton Bennett, a professor, or you could call him American sociologist, he designed 6 different stages to understand the culture of people from other countries. I'm not going to talk about that, but I've used this technique to tell you what are the problems we really face, how students immerse themselves from denial to integration. If you want, for your further research, you can make use of this model, which really we talk about this intercultural sensitivity, which is again part of our literature. Because when you want to have this cultural studies, this theory would be really helpful for you to work on. And I've changed it to my need, actually, experience of learning difference. So So what is that you really have? This denial. You have that. As I was telling you, it's like you have children who really come up with their own identity crisis, they would say. They are not in a situation to learn the language because they have this Tamil medium background. So they have this. So they really deny the opportunity. They would not come to the front. They would not mingle with others. And you have the next stage, which is called defense, where they have their own group, and their own group will not break. They will always be in a cocoon where they really think that what is the purpose of learning language? I'm going to, after I finish my graduation, I'm going to get married, fine. Or otherwise, I'm going to take care of my father's business, fine. Or otherwise, I go for something else. Why? What is the purpose of learning this particular language? So they really defense themselves and minimization, and they really minimize the whole thing. And just I have, most of the students are to that level. Our students are to that level. They know a bit, and when they send message, it's always transliterate. And again, they are that really always reflecting on the answer sheet too. They are very quick in sending messages. When you look into it, it is not in English actually. And again, you have an application which is called uh, Grammarly. That application is really helpful for students to check their spellings, because now it is very difficult. Spellings are at stake right now. So this minimization is something where the students really think, I know a bit, I know how to manage, so I don't want to worry about it. So because I'm not going to no, I'm not going to become an officer anywhere. I'm going to work in a shop. I'm going to work here. So what is the purpose of learning the language? They minimize themselves. So if they minimize themselves, they will not come to the next level of learning the language. Acceptance. And after minimization, they really accept their own situation. They really understand because they really manage. For example, you really, all of us would have seen this. When the students, or a student who have been studying in our college, she would not have done anything well. She would not have spoken the language also. And once she completes her graduation, she would have been joined an MNC, and she would come back to get her certificate, and she would speak English really well. You'd be completely astounded, right? You have that. How is it possible then? It has been time of 6 months. So it is always necessity is the mother of invention. She would have accepted that, and she would really accept the situation and accordingly. And they really, so children should always have aim, goal in their life. So this we have to instill that, and they have a very clear goal. I know that some of the children are from broken families, as ma'am was telling yesterday. It's like you have all the other problems, but then too they should understand education is going to be a tool for them to come up in their life. So when they are going to have this acceptance, and then it is adaptation, they really adapt to the situation. And we have, it's like a student with no English knowledge. After 3 years of time, she would meet us with a bombastic accent. So it's been a nice thing actually. It's because it's been adapted in that way. And then you have the last part, which is called integration. So I would really tell you this communicative English which has been prescribed will always make the child to understand that language plays a predominant role for the child to dream, to aim. So from denial to integration will really happen through this communicative English paper. And I'll tell you how. Because you have this autonomy. It is always the plus in communicative English. And this one is, is the creativity. Okay, it's about creativity. You could find a pig flying. Okay, so this is called language module theory, which was being designed by Dr. Burgeon, who was a researcher in the University of California. So he says, actually, when you're going to have this module, when you're going to say, a pig, we have our own creativity. All of us think of a pig. When I say the pig is, pig is flying, we started to imagine in our own way. Sometimes we imagine a pig like a Superman. Sometimes you really think the pig has got 2 wings or 4 wings. It depends upon our creativity. So the mind of our students have been always talking about creativity. So the thing is, it is not, we cannot control their creativity. We have to unleash their creativity, which could be done only through through our language. So this module theory is really making us to understand that students should be allowed to think. You have to encourage their creativity. Some of them would not open their mouth, they would not react. You have, because it's always difficult, because we have 100 students in the class. So how is that you're going to manage? So the thing is, it is not we are going to focus more on one particular student. Our duty is to make them understand importance of language. What is that they're going to? We have to create. We have to instill the interest in each student. So you have to use for that. Technology plays a very important role. So you're not going to. Sometimes it happens, right? When I was selecting this story, this anthropologist, I was really wondering. It would be because I got it from WhatsApp. So I know that it is. Most of you would have read that story. Most of you would have seen that poster. But my interpretation was completely different. Right. So that comes a very strong hold. So you have to understand that it's like what you are going to, because we cannot control the mind of the students. They really think in various ways. So how we are going to make it, how we are going to channelize it has been very important. So again, this one is again it is the creativity which is being talking about. And this Dr. Burgeon says that when a person thinks, when the mind is really expands, it will not come to his normal shape again. So it has been completely expanded. So the creativity is really making students to expand their mind. Once it has been expanded, they will not come to their normal size. It is always a way of developing. So as a language teacher, we are going to do that. We are being doing it. And this communicative English paper is going to is going to be really helpful for students to develop their language skills. I was telling you, it's all autonomy, learner autonomy, as well as teacher autonomy. Right? Learners have enough freedom to choose what they want to read, and again, teacher has enough, you know, freedom to choose what she wants to teach in the class. So it has been a structured, a tailor-made syllabus, and out of that we show our creativity. There's no doubt about it. When a poem has been prescribed, we teach the poem with our own understanding, or we use creativity there. Whereas in this communicative English paper, I would say you have enough freedom to choose your own piece of poem, your own piece of prose, your own drama. So you can really, according to your students' interest, you can go for your selection. Again, learners have their own freedom to choose what they want to. They could read something. You can give a title, and you can give a theme, and you can ask the students to come out with their own selection. When they come out with their own choice of poem or a piece of prose, that would be helpful for them to have discussion in the class. Again, discussion, it is always difficult to have 100 students together, and it is always to make students to listen there in the class. So that's a very difficult job, but we have to do it. We have to make students to listen to you as well as to others. If you're very successful in making your students listen to you as well as to others, I will tell you, it's like students will learn the language beautifully. So how is that you really talk about it? I have Sri Narayana Murthy on one side and Elon Musk on the other side. So I wanted to test this before I wanted to include this on my slide. I tested with my son. I asked him, this person? And he looked at him and he said, I think I've seen him somewhere. Okay, fine. So what about this guy who's on the other side? He said, oh, it's Elon Musk. Oh, great guy. Right. So it's like we have to choose the thing which has been completely interest to our students. Again, we should not leave Narayana Murthy just like that. We have to introduce Elon. We don't want to introduce Elon Musk to our students because they know who is Elon Musk, because they are really following people I know they are, most of the students are Insta, most of the students on Facebook, most of the students on on various social media, so that they know who is who in the right in the present world. But I would say we have to introduce Narayana Murthy through Elon Musk so that students really know who is Narayana Murthy. So that sort of situation we have to create. That sort of atmosphere we should really create for students to learn. So when you're going to have all these, it's like a mixed form of tasks there in the classroom. It's going to be helpful for our students again, because we have to break out of our shell and we say this I know, so I whatever I know you have to learn. It is not that what it is not that what we teach. We always think I teach this because they want to know this. It's not like that. We have to teach what they want to know. That's it's going to be very important one, especially now. So it is not that those days are gone where it's like I know this, you learn this. It's not like that. No, we have to learn something what our students wanted to learn. And you have this Bob Dylan, and Bob Dylan, you know that he won Nobel Prize for literature. But it's again the same test which just I wanted my son to do it. And when I asked him, he just felt it's like he might be a musician because he has all the background. So it would be. And the other side, when I asked him, was, oh, BTS. What is that you're going to do with BTS, ma, for your presentation? Right. So it's like I learned this BTS only from my son, actually speaking. I never knew this. There was one, or there is one pop, uh, boy band. So it's like, so it is always a difference then. But we should not leave Bob Dylan. It's like you have to introduce BDS, and as well as we have to introduce Bob Dylan. So how is that? It's the differences we have to iron out. So we have to do it. Only English teachers can do it. Only we can discuss, uh, topics like this. So it's our duty to make them understand. So it's very important to learn the language. And this picture is it's about this book as well as this tab you have. And we do that. It's like this is the future. We're going to have. We carry mobile phone. We carry our book, and it's going to be a blended one. We're going to use both devices, both tools equally in our classroom. And for that, and we don't want to have any skill to handle books because we are good at that, but it is very important to handle our device, our tab or our mobile phone, because you have everything on the mobile. And this is the future. So I would really tell you, it is like we have to understand. We have to understand this community, because most of you would have felt that it's the same what's there, right? But I will tell you, like, it is always the way, the variety. We are well known for this variety. We really know how to do detail it, how to garnish it. So we're going to do it again and again. So it is like, because I'm very sure when students are going to come back, they will not have this communicative ability in a very strong way. But I would tell you, they would have listened to a lot of webinars, lot of videos. So the listening skill would be improved extensively. So it's a right way for them to understand, to make them believe that this is the right way for them to do it. I will tell you again, now when you are when you take online classes, it is some of the students, or there's a competition or something, because most of us really go for virtual competition. So when you're going to look at the virtual competition, the participants there in the virtual competition have been completely confident enough. When they have been delivering something, it's like it's been highly confident, especially first year students. So it's very true, because those days are gone where people were really in jitters when they were standing in front of the mic. Now it is not like that. Students are good at that. So they started to learn a lot. And we have to learn, we have to change for all positive reasons to make our students learn the language in wonderful ways. And I wanted to show you I wanted to show you a small clip which I've created using an app, which is going to be our essence for the next session. So
Beena ma'am,
yes.
any help needed from our side, ma'am?
No. It's fine. I just now I created that.
Okay.
I'm working on it.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Fine. Yes. So it will take 2 minutes to open that video. So otherwise I'll show that no in my next session. I think yes. So I've done with that, Gayatri, Professor Gayatri.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll take the questions then.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation, ma'am. Participants are requested to post your questions in the chat box. I request the participants to post the questions in the chat box now. I request Ms. Mohana Priya to handle the Q&A session.
Thank you, Gayatri ma'am. Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, Mohana Priya. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. We request the participants to post their questions in the chat window.
Excuse me, Ms. Mohana Priya, just a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Beena ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Request to stop sharing, ma'am. We'll share our slide.
Okay. I'll do it. Yeah, fine. Yeah, now it's opening. 1 minute. I'll try whether I can do it.
Can we continue?
1 minute. Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
It's not much visible. Fine. No, that's okay. It was like a tiger talking to us. So it's like an app where you can use animals, birds to be presented along with you. So that it's a way of engaging our students. When you're going to give tasks to our students, it's like they always wanted to have this out of the box type of task. So I'll share the applications or stuff in my next session. It's going to be completely technology oriented. So that's going to be my next session. Fine. Yes,
Sure,
Gayatri.
ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. Sure. Thank you so much, ma'am. Mohana Priya can
yes, Gayatri, ma'am.
handle the session.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, the first question. What do you suggest us to instill interest in students from rural background?
Ma'am, interest again. I would say it's like students always come with, with a purpose. So, I mean, all the students come with a purpose. The purpose might be different from one person to another, but ultimately they wanted to do something in their life. And this doing has been completely stopped because of various other reasons. And we could not get into various other reasons, but we really allowed them to think in such a way they understand, they can do it. Usually rural children really think they could not do certain things because of this communication part. They really think they would not good at English, they could not achieve anything. So we have to make them understand English is not a language which will really, because always people think English speaking English speaking people are really intelligent. That is the myth which should be completely broken. So that sort of confidence we have to instill in our students, saying that communication is important. It's not your English or any other language. Even in Tamil, you have to communicate very properly. Now, when you're going to communicate in Tamil in a very strong way, your thoughts are very clear. When your thoughts are clear, you are going to take anything. You are good at observing. You can observe anything. So, that would be the way of making them to understand the purpose, as well as we are going to tell them English is just a language. It is the way that you can learn this language using your mother tongue. Again, even you have to use your mother tongue in a very clear manner. You have to think very clearly. So I would say this the way of making our students understand the purpose of learning.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question. Can you suggest few activities for LSRW?
Ma'am, LSRW again. It's like for listening. You can use WhatsApp as a tool to create a lot of tasks for students. So it is in a way, it's like LSRW listening. You have your group, and you can create a lot of groups. A group will have 5 students, so or 10 students. So you're going to make them. So one of the students is going to do the presentation. That should be really listened. Again, that should be really evaluated by others. The teacher's evaluation is always being taken a backbench here. So you can make students to do the presentation. Again, I'll tell you, ask them to create video and send it across. I can vouch for that. When they start to create their own videos, they are really amazing. So creating their own video, that will really help them to develop their speaking skill. Again, you can give a picture. It's as it's like you have a picture on the screen right now, Q&A, and you have a lot of hands and a lot of questions, and questions are in different boxes, different shapes, and hands are in different shades. So Q and it is in three-dimensional. It's in dimensional way. So how will you define this? How will you define when you're going to look at this picture? You can go for anything. The background is green. It's like a board, and on the board you have a picture, and the picture is being talking about many hands. So it is a rainbow. It is like a lot of hands. You don't have similarity at all. So how is that they are going to, they describe wonderfully. And I would say memes, creating memes, is the best example to talk about our students' creativity. And sometimes we'll peel into laughter. They really say it's wonderful. So I would say, we can go for, lot of such games. Again, it's like, as I've been doing research on e-task. So how to use e-task. I used WhatsApp. Even now I do that. I have my own group of students. And then I just, we go for discussion. I give a topic, and I tell you all the students are, are from Tamil medium background. And they give them a newspaper clipping, and I'll ask them to read it. I ask them to download certain applications. So they have to refer to the dictionary. They have to go for pronunciation. And you have an application which is called Duolingo. It is a beautiful application to learn a language. You have this pronounce about. There's an application that is really helping them to develop their pronunciation. And you can tell me, what is your role, ma'am? I've been really guiding them to do what they want to do. And they come back. When there is any difficulty, they come back to me at any time. And I'll then tell them, this is how you have to do it. And I'll tell you, it's like it is doing a lot of improvement. It is really instilling a lot of confidence in our students. Right? I'll tell you the applications and all in my next session, where you're going to use all these applications. And you have the Screencastify, which is another application where you can create your own video. You can ask your students to create their own video. And it's going to be a group work also. You can give a theme. I'll tell you, they create their own video. They create, it is how to do it. And it's like spin the yarn. And you want, it was like this, like spin the yarn is something where you make 10 students to stand, and one will narrate a story, another will lead. And here the same thing, you can do it virtually. So, so it is in that way. So, you can find one student is been giving on, I mean, you can go for this video call, the WhatsApp call, or any call. You can have the Zoom meeting or whatever it is. Everything has been very easy for us now. And again, the data plays a very important role. If you want, the data is not really, helpful for them, you can ask them to record it and send it across. The very important thing is we have to spend time for evaluation part. We have to tell them what is wrong in that. What are the things they have to improvise. That takes time actually, but it is nice.
Thank you, ma'am.
Excuse me, Mohanapriya, just
Yes,
a minute. Beena ma'am, a request from our side. Could you turn on your video?
Oh. Yeah, right.
Yes, ma'am.
Now it's
not visible, ma'am.
It is not?
No, ma'am.
Now? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Right? Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Mohanapriya, you can continue.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, there's this question from YouTube. Could you please suggest how activity can be conducted during online classes?
Yes, during online classes, again, no, online classes is the same way. We ask them to read, and some of them really react, some of them will not answer at all. And no, I have that difficulty. It's like kids, because we do not know what is happening on the other side. So really, you can ask them to have it in a virtual way. It's like you can go for asking them to create this podcast. You have this broadcast, which is you have Google podcast. You have. I think I can. We have time so that I just will go around one important application. I'll yes, I'll do that. So you have this Google podcast. So in there, everything is free. The application which I'm talking about, totally free. So you can ask them to download it. It is not the downloading. Everything is being embedded. So they can have the voice, and then they record it. They can send it across. So, for example, you give a story. It's the beginning of any incident. It's like we want to ask them about the vendors on the streets, the sellers on the streets, diminishing sellers on the streets. So that's going to be the topic. Just to give the topic to the students, I'll tell you, they will give you all sort of presentation along with the photographs. So I will tell you, it's like now it has become very easy because of technology. You can have colorful presentation. You can the slide which I presented you, which I got from a website which is totally free. So you can look now. When you look at my PPT, it was being completely different. Usually we have PPT there on our MS. There's no doubt about it. But I wanted to do in a different way where this PPT is going to be it's all attractive. Even when you look at the picture, which is Q&A, it is really attractive. It is not only Q&A. Why necessary to have all the question mark in different shapes, and why different colors? What is that you wanted to signify? You want to attract. You want to attract the viewers. That's it, right? Q&A is more than enough. It is not even on the full screen. So you have something. You have your own interpretation. That's what I was really telling. Is like problem solving. Problem solving skills are really developed. I'll tell you, from education 1 to education 5, all the skills are completely developed. Then it was not essential to have this problem solving skills. They had. Now it is really essential to develop problem solving skills among students, because that becomes very important right now, because our children are completely in quagmire. They have been completely dragged in. They have been drifting away with a lot of distraction. So we have to help them in various ways. So teaching is going to be really helpful for them. Yes, I think I've answered.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Ma'am.
Madam, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Ma'am, Movendran here. How are you, ma'am? It was a really nice presentation, ma'am. I really enjoyed it. Thank you. It's a long time we made, right, ma'am?
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, it's a very simple and effective presentation, madam. You have made a great job. You've done a great job.
So much, thank you.
Wonderful,
so much.
Wonderful presentation. Madam, regarding just a small doubt regarding applications.
Yes, sir.
When we want to use mobile applications for language learning, especially for listening skills, madam, am I audible?
Yeah, yes, sir, yes, sir. For
Am
listening, you want to
I
know the
audible?
application. Yeah, you are, sir.
Yeah,
You
madam.
are.
Regarding,
Yes.
no, madam, no. Yeah, you mentioned that you'll be mentioning about the apps in the next session. I'm not
Yes, sir.
mentioning about the apps now.
Yes, sir.
Most of the applications, madam, I found when like Bilingua or something like that. Most of the applications do not support regional language Tamil, but most of the applications are supporting regional languages in Malayalam or Telugu or Kannada, especially Hindi, madam. They don't support regional languages. So when you make your second presentation, kindly highlight some applications which do support the mother tongue Tamil, ma'am. It will be very helpful to you. For most of the
Yeah, right,
learners.
sir. Right, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
As we've been talking about, yes, sir. Thank you for your questions. I just tell you, I'm not going to talk about the application again, but one application which is called Google Translate.
Yes,
If you
ma'am.
go
Yeah,
to Google
that's, I am familiar.
Translate,
Yeah,
yes, sir, you have that translation where in Tamil has also been taken
yeah,
for
yeah, it's
consideration.
available. Yeah,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can use
even I
that
have
too.
been using Google Translate for even typing, madam. Just by
Excellent,
using my
sir.
voice typing, Google voice typing, I'm
Yes,
able to
sir.
type
Yes, sir.
Tamil documents, madam. It's very helpful.
Yeah, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yes, sir.
Nice presentation, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
to organizers also. Thank you so
sir.
much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes,
Thank you, sir. Ma'am, moving on to the next question.
Yes.
Is autonomy of teacher and student possible in a given university framework?
When it comes to communicative English, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It is. It is. Because I strongly believe when you get into the class, it's between you and your students. That's all. You don't have anybody called third party. So whether it is institution or whether it is university, you will not have anybody in between because you are the person there in the classroom and you become the owner. You become very important there, and it is between you and your students. So I don't think anybody will really come in between when it comes to teaching. So it is your autonomy where you want to teach, how you want to teach. Everything depends upon your mentality as well as your approach. So I strongly believe that once you enter your class, it is your place. It is your place, and you are the king of the place. You are the queen, and you have to do whatever you want to. And our purpose is to teach our students in various effective ways. So, uh, there is no way of. My purpose is to teach my students. I want this to be done to my students. I do it. So I look into it. What are the other factors like how to use? If I'm going to tell you like technology is going to be useful, how far it is going to be helpful there in the classroom? How could my children get data, this mobile data? It's like whether the college is going to provide me this Wi-Fi. That becomes a technical problem, I would say. But when it comes to teaching, because this is I am the device. I should call myself the device of teaching. So it's like I can use my own method there in the classroom if there is no technology. So autonomy is totally is being there. Whatever I would say, even the communicative English or literature or whatever you are going to handle, it's like once you enter your class, you have your own freedom. There is no disturbance, being created by anybody. I believe that strongly. Yes.
Ma'am, the next question. I belong to tribal community. I am a tribal writer. Can you suggest me what to do? What can we do to increase the interest since they belong to poor background?
That's wonderful. I'll tell you that it's like in my area we have gypsy community. Okay, I teach them English, but it is very difficult to make them to sit in a place. It is not at all very easy for them to come and assemble in one particular place. So it is like I it is the way of it's like they would listen again. It is the way of making them this interest. It's very difficult. I'll tell you, it is very difficult to instill the interest there in the mind of the students, the kids. But again, when you are going to make them to understand, bringing them together and teaching them the essence, I'll tell you, but they are very, very, innocent. They are like clean slate. It's very easy for them to observe and learn the language. So I've been really successful in my attempt. Even I was trying to have one particular project related to that. But again, more than the project, it was like it was out of there. I wanted to help them. So it was a very helpful task. I could find 2 students. I took class for nearly 10 students, but it's like I was really successful in making only 2 students to speak in a very decent way. I would not say like in a bombastic way they really speak. It's like they would really manage. So I think I've answered. Can you repeat that question? It's like the participant wanted to know about.
What can we do to increase the students' interest since they belong to poor background?
Yes. The thing, it's like I would always go with biscuits. I take sweets just to cajole them. That's it. It's like the way of, because it's like it's like might be self-centric or whatever you can refer to. It's like I will always carry all these pencil. I give them pencil if they answer something. Just I give them this gift. It just would be, even I do that in my class even now. It's like if somebody is reading, just I would ask somebody to read the question. I mean, read the passage. The child would read the passage, and the whole class will give a round of applause. That is a way of encouraging the kids. And when I talk about the gypsy children, it's like always been, I really cajole them, giving them gift. It was like, okay, you answer this, come on, have this 5-star. You answer this, come on, have this. It's a way of making them to come. And it is not possible. It is always a way of bribing. I would understand that. But initially, later on, they really understood that, okay, this mom is there to tell us something. So even now, when when they cross my place, they really stand and say, "Good morning, ma'am." No, good evening, ma'am. All these pleasantries we always exchange. So the way of interest, to develop the interest, the very important thing is you have to we have to create an atmosphere where they strongly believe us. This person is going to be a change maker in life. So that we are going to create that confidence in the mind of the students. I'll tell you, you can develop the interest of each student. There's no doubt about it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Next question. The students at present are not passionate enough to pursue things. They take things for granted. Then putting them together to a destined purpose becomes really tough inside a class. What's your opinion, ma'am?
Again, it's when you look at students, it's like some of them would come to college without taking their breakfast. Sometimes they skip even the lunch. They come with a lot of problems, I tell you that. But they come to college. You have to understand that. Even though they have all problems, they come to college. They come to a class. They sit in our class. That's the positivism we really find in them. So they have a purpose. So if they don't want to come to college, they would not come to class, right? If they have been completely disturbed, they've been completely scared. Then I will tell you, it's like completely dejected. A child of 17-year-old be completely dejected. It is really alarming. But those children come to college, come to class, listen, sit in the class. They are completely lifeless, I would say. They would be completely lifeless because they have something to think about. They brood over something, it's a very serious thing. But they come to class. They come regularly. So we have to understand, we have to give respect for that purpose. We have to understand, yes. So when they come to our class, when they sit in the class thinking we are going to give them something really valuable for them to come up in life, and it is our duty to do it. There's no doubt about it. And we have to create a purpose. And the purpose is, our purpose is to teach them. And again, I'll tell you, we cannot teach language. We really show them the way. The way should be shown very clearly to our students. So I believe that even though they don't have purpose, you have to understand, and it is very difficult. Some of them will not open up at all. They will not say, it's like, this is the problem, or this is what I want to. But it is like our purpose is to make them understand the purpose. That's our strong way of taking forward.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Dr. Shashi, can you unmute your mic? Yes.
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Yes, good evening.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Actually, you had quoted the name of a researcher when you were talking about the technology, etc. A person who is doing some research in the States, and you had told us something about it. I just missed the name. Can you please?
Is it Milton Bennett you talk about, DMIS? Dimension of multi-level sensitivity, yes.
Could you pardon, ma'am? It is Milton.
Bennett.
Thank you, ma'am.
Milton Bennett's DMIS theory. It's a framework.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot for the lovely session. We are really gaining a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am, there are no more questions. Thank you so much, ma'am. Over to
Yes.
Ms. Gayatri.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mohana Priya. I thank Dr. Beena Anil, who has spared her valuable time to share her knowledge with us. We are highly benefited by your presentation, ma'am. It's sure what we have listened and imbibed today will surely help us face the digital natives in the classroom in the forthcoming days. Awaiting your next session, ma'am. My heartfelt thanks to Dr. Kalanidhi and Dr. Sumati Shivakumar, who have joined us today. With this, today's session has come to an end now. Thank you all for your participation. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gayatri. Thank you. Yeah, thanks all.
I request all the participants to join us on Monday for the continuing session on the topic Communicative English, How to, How Not to. Participants are requested to submit the feedback form. I request the participants to submit the feedback form. Thank you so much for your participation.
Hello, Beena.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, well done, Beena.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Very interesting, very inspiring, very informative. I really had my day today with you. Wonderful, Beena. Congratulations.
That's so nice of you, ma'am.
Good eye-opener for all of us. All participants have really benefited out of your program. Very good, Beena.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Bye, ma'am. Bye, ma'am. Bye, Gayatri. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. See you, ma'am.
Bye.
Hello, ma'am. This is Deepa here. Beena, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. Yeah, Deepa, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, it was wonderful. And of course, you made us to wait for Monday. We'll be waiting for Monday's session.
Oh,
Definitely.
that's lovely.
So
Again, so nice of you.
Yeah, really interesting. And we are waiting for the topics which you are going to discuss on Monday. Thank you so much for the interesting session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Good
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you,
Good
Beena. Thank you, Beena, ma'am.
Thank
Wonderful
you. So
presentation. It was so different. In fact, when Karpagam gave the introduction, I want to go through those books that you have written. You've authored few books, right? Let me know about it.
Yeah, Professor Karpagam, very nice of you. You know, my sister was telling me.
Dear ma'am. Even we have spoken a lot about you, ma'am.
Oh.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a
Good.
lot.
Thank you so much. It's very nice. Very ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமா இருக்கு actually.
In fact, I never forget when you came to our college in 2009, gave the guest lecture on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Do you remember? It was really wonderful. It was very nice. I was remembering those days also you gave a beautiful presentation. It was very, very different. Thank you so much, Beena. Heartfelt thanks.
Yeah,
Excuse
thank you
me.
for that. Thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Thank you so much.